Be me, 22, fresh out of college with a 3.9 GPA in construction management. I'd aced every class, every simulation, every case study. Graduated top of my class. President of the Student Construction Management Association. I knew this shit inside and out. But here I was, 2 months into my internship at Hartman Construction, still doing filing and scheduling like some secretary, taking notes in meetings, making copies, watching these guys, most of them barely smarter than me, manage actual projects while I organized their paperwork. The worst part? They acted like they were doing me a favor. Learning the business from the ground up, they'd say. Translation: we don't trust a woman to do real work. Ryan was the perfect example. 28, managing the Riverside Commercial Plaza project, and constantly complaining about how overwhelmed he was. I'd watch him at his desk, typing emails, making phone calls, updating spreadsheets, literally stuff I learned sophomore year. But he'd sigh dramatically and tell anyone who'd listen how brutal the job was. Please. It was project management, not rocket science. I remembered my capstone presentation senior year. We had these industry professionals come in as guest judges, old-timers stuck in their ways. I'd told them straight up, the construction industry has a culture of exaggerating difficulty to maintain gatekeeping. My generation will disrupt this with efficiency and technology. One of them, some PM with 20 years of experience, tried to push back, talked about unexpected complications and relationship management. I'd shut him down pretty quickly. Dude was clearly threatened by someone who actually understood modern project management methodology. That Friday, we had our monthly team lunch. Tom, the owner, ordered pizza and tried to build company culture or whatever. Ryan was going on again about the Riverside project. Honestly, I don't know how I'm going to get through the next month, he said, looking exhausted. This thing is a beast. I couldn't help myself. No offense, Ryan, but I studied construction management for 4 years. Project management really isn't that complicated if you just stay organized and follow the fundamentals. Maybe you're overthinking it? The table went silent. Everyone stopped mid-bite. Ryan looked caught off guard. It's definitely different doing it in the real world than in a classroom. I leaned back. I managed a capstone project with a $50,000 hypothetical budget and a full semester timeline. Same principles, just scaled. Scheduling, resource allocation, stakeholder management, it's all the same formula. One of the older PMS coughed to cover a laugh. Ryan just nodded. Right. Well, the formula gets complicated when subcontractors don't show up, permits get delayed. Those are just variables, I interrupted. You adjust. That's literally what project management software is for. Tom, the owner, suddenly perked up. All right, Emily. You want real PM experience? You've been asking for it. Ryan's got the Riverside project. 8 months in, 4 months to go. How about you take lead on it for 1 week? Ryan supervises from the background, and if you handle it well, we'll seriously discuss transitioning you onto a PM track. My heart pounded. Finally. Absolutely. I'm ready. Ryan's jaw tightened, but he nodded. Sure. I'll brief you tonight on current status. Tom smiled. Great. Emily, this is a real opportunity. Show us what you've got. I glanced at Ryan. Let's see if it's really as hard as you make it look. Day 1, Monday. My alarm went off at 6. I hit snooze twice. 6:30 was early enough. Construction people always exaggerated about start times. I showed up at 6:45 in business, casual, notebook, and phone, ready. Ryan and 3 contractors were already mid-walkthrough. He handed me a hard hat and safety vest. Morning. Site meetings are at 6 a.m. Contractors have other jobs after this. Not mean, just matter of fact. I felt irritated. Of course he's making a thing about 15 minutes. Ryan spent the next 2 hours basically doing the job while explaining it to me. Introduced me to Dave, the electrical contractor, gruff guy in his 50s, and Miguel, who handled plumbing. Showed me the schedule, permit status, budget tracker, inspection calendar. I took notes, but internally I was thinking, this is construction scheduling 301. He's making it sound complicated. It's just logistics. The day went smoothly. I sat in the site trailer doing paperwork Ryan had prepared, confirming deliveries he'd already scheduled, checking off inspections he'd already arranged. Everything flowed perfectly. Day 2. Tuesday. I arrived at 6:20. The day proceeded smoothly again. Contractors on time, work progressing, no issues. During the morning walkthrough, Ryan was explaining HVAC duct routing. I interrupted. Actually, wouldn't it be more efficient to run the ducting along the north wall? It's a shorter run. Ryan paused. We considered that, but there's a structural beam. Right, but with modern HVAC systems, we can adjust vent placement. I did a whole project on this in my HVAC systems class. Dave, the electrical guy, exchanged a glance with Ryan. Ryan just said, "The engineer already signed off on this routing." I made a note. They're stuck in, "this is how we've always done it," thinking. I held my first client call with Mr. Patterson, the property owner. Ryan had prepped me beforehand, told me exactly what to say. The call went fine. Patterson seemed satisfied. After, I told Ryan, "I think we could streamline your client communication process. You probably spend too much time on updates. I could set up an automated dashboard." Ryan: "Patterson prefers phone calls. He's old school." Right, but we should lead clients toward more efficient systems. Ryan just nodded. Something to think about. I left at 5 feeling good. Ryan stayed past 7. Day 3, Wednesday. I arrived at 6:30, getting comfortable now. The day was smooth again. Framing inspection passed. Miguel's plumbing crew made progress. Dave's electrical crew pulled wire. Everything clicked. I spent the afternoon organizing files, color-coding schedules, creating new tracking spreadsheets. Felt productive. That evening, I was feeling confident enough to reach out for some validation. I called Dr. Morrison, my former capstone advisor. He'd always appreciated my forward thinking. "Emily, how's the real world treating you?" "Actually, that's why I'm calling. I wanted to get your perspective on something. I've been given a trial run managing a major project this week, and honestly, it's going really well. But I'm noticing the firm has some pretty outdated practices. I'm wondering if this is typical for the industry, or if Hartman is just behind the curve." "What firm is this again?" "Hartman Construction Management, Tom's company." "Ah, Tom's firm. I've known him for 15 years. Good guy, very ethical. What kind of outdated practices are you seeing?" I explained about the over-reliance on phone calls instead of automated dashboards, the excessive relationship management, the resistance to modern scheduling approaches. He was quiet for a moment. "Emily, let me ask you something. How much of the project setup did you handle yourself, and how much was already in place when you took over?" The question caught me off guard. "Well, Ryan briefed me on the current status, but I'm the one executing." "That's not what I asked. Did you build the contractor relationships, negotiate the permits, set up the inspection schedules, or did you inherit a project that was already running smoothly?" I felt defensive. I inherited the project, but that doesn't change the fact that the day-to-day management is straightforward. Ryan acts like it's overwhelming when it's really just basic organizational skills. "Emily." His tone shifted, became more serious. "I'm going to be very direct with you because I think you need to hear this. I'm looking at your file right now. Your application essay from senior year, you wrote that construction PM work has artificial barriers and that you'd be able to perform at the level of PMs with 5+ years of experience within your first year. Do you remember writing that?" My stomach tightened. I was demonstrating confidence in my education. "And in your capstone presentation, you told 3 industry professionals, people I brought in as a favor, people with decades of real experience, that the construction industry exaggerates difficulty to maintain gatekeeping. One of those judges called me after and said you were the most arrogant student he'd encountered in 20 years of guest lectures. He was threatened by... No, Emily. He wasn't threatened. He was concerned, and so were your professors. We had multiple faculty meetings about your attitude. You were dismissive of every practitioner who tried to share real-world insights. You seemed to think that acing exams made you an expert. I felt like I'd been slapped. Why didn't anyone tell me this? We did, multiple times. In your performance reviews, we noted you needed to be more receptive to feedback from practitioners. You brushed it off every single time. You said we were protecting the old guard and resistant to innovation. Silence. Emily, I'm going to give you some advice, and I really hope you listen this time. If your week is going smoothly, it's probably because someone else did the hard work before you got there. Project management isn't about making schedules look pretty or setting up dashboards. It's about relationships, experience, and judgment calls that you only learn by failing a few times first. Don't mistake a smooth handoff for easy work. And one more thing, Tom called me last week. He wanted to make sure our curriculum was adequately preparing students. He mentioned he was giving you a trial opportunity. He's rooting for you, Emily. Don't waste it by assuming you already know everything. He hung up. I sat there staring at my phone. That didn't go how I expected. But whatever. Dr. Morrison was probably just protective of Tom. They were old friends. Of course he'd take Tom's side. I pushed the conversation out of my mind. Day 4, Thursday morning. I got there at 7:15. The 6 a.m. start seemed like unnecessary machismo. If something urgent happened, they'd call. When I pulled up, the site felt tense. Dave was pacing outside, looking pissed. Miguel stood by his truck, gesturing angrily. Workers were just standing around. I approached Dave. Morning? Everything okay? He turned, visibly irritated. Where were you? What do you mean? I'm here. We had the safety walkthrough at 6 a.m. for the second floor junction box install. It was on the schedule. I flagged it Monday. I needed your sign-off on the panel configuration before my guys could start pulling wire. I didn't remember this. Check my notes. Nothing. Check my email. There they were. Dave's messages from Monday and Wednesday. Reminder, Thursday, 6 a.m. Safety walkthrough critical for Friday inspection. Oh, I didn't realize that was mandatory. Can we just do it now? Dave stared. Can we do it now? My crew has been standing around for over an hour on the clock. And no, we can't just do it now. The walkthrough is tied to the inspection schedule. We needed to document it this morning, file it with the city by 2 p.m. to stay on track for Friday's inspection. My face got hot. Okay, let's do it now, and I'll expedite the documentation. Expedite? This is code compliance, not a suggestion. If we don't have proper documentation, the inspector can fail us. That pushes electrical approval back a week minimum, which delays plumbing, which delays drywall, which blows your whole timeline. His tone was blunt, borderline condescending. I understand code requirements. I studied OSHA regulations extensively. You don't need to talk to me like I'm an idiot. Then stop acting like one. This is day 4, and you've already screwed up the most critical inspection of the month. Excuse me? You heard me. Studying and doing are different things, sweetheart. Ryan would have been here at 5:45. Sweetheart. My jaw clenched. That was a hostile work environment right there. Miguel walked over. Hey, we got a major problem. Plumbing rough-in is hitting a conflict with the HVAC ducting on the second floor. My guys can't proceed. We need an engineering call or a design change, and we need it today. I looked at the plans, saw the conflict, but had no idea how to solve it. Can't you just reroute around it? Miguel stared. Reroute around it? Lady, this isn't Minecraft. Plumbing has slope requirements. HVAC has clearance requirements. We need an actual solution, not a guess. Well, what do you usually do? Usually the PM coordinates the call because they have the relationships. If Ryan were managing this, I snapped. Ryan isn't managing this. I am. Miguel held up his hands. All right, just saying, we're stuck until someone makes a decision. My phone rang. Patterson. Emily, I just got an email saying the electrical inspection is pushed to next week. What's going on? You told me Tuesday it was on track for Friday. There was a miscommunication about a safety walkthrough. A miscommunication? I'm paying Hartman $80,000 in PM fees to avoid miscommunications. Every day of delay cost me $3,000. I want Ryan back on this project. Mr. Patterson, I assure you, you have nothing under control. I want answers in 1 hour, or I'm calling Tom directly. He hung up. I stood there, heart pounding. Dave's crew idle. Miguel's crew stuck. Inspection in jeopardy. Client threatening escalation. I had no idea how to fix any of it. I texted Ryan, need your help immediately. Ryan arrived 20 minutes later. I watched him work. It was like watching someone speak a language I thought I knew, but clearly didn't. He called the city inspector, not the main line, his direct cell. Hey Tom, it's Ryan. Yeah, Riverside project. Got a notice about the electrical inspection being pushed. Can you walk me through what happened? Pause. Got it. Missing documentation from the Thursday walkthrough? Pause. That's on me. Miscommunication this morning. If I get it filed by 3 p.m., can we keep Friday's slot? Pause. Laugh. I definitely owe you lunch. Thanks, man. He turned to Dave. Let's do the walkthrough right now. I'll document it, file it with the city, and make sure we're set for Friday. Your crew can start pulling wire by 10. Dave nodded, tension easing. Appreciate it, Ryan. They did the walkthrough. Ryan asked detailed questions, caught a potential issue with the neutral bus arrangement, approved Dave's fix. 15 minutes, professional, efficient. I felt so fucking small. Next, Ryan got Miguel and the HVAC contractor on a 3-way call. Alright, Miguel needs 18 inches of vertical clearance for drain slope. HVAC needs 24 inches for ducting. Current design has them intersecting at column B7. Options: reroute the duct west by 3 feet, or adjust plumbing to run along the perimeter wall. Miguel: perimeter adds 2 joints, but it's doable. HVAC: west reroute is fine on our end. Ryan: let's do the duct reroute. Cleaner, fewer lake points. Miguel: you good? Yeah, works for me. Perfect. I'll get the engineer to sign off and send updated drawings by end of day. 10 minutes. Problem solved. Then he called Patterson. Mr. Patterson, Ryan here. Inspection is still on track for Friday. We had a scheduling miscommunication that's now resolved. Plumbing HVAC's conflict has a solution, no timeline impact, still on track for substantial completion by end of March. I apologize for the confusion. Patterson immediately calmed down. Okay, Ryan, I trust you, but I have to be honest. I don't think Emily's ready for this. I understand. I'll be more involved going forward. 1 hour. Ryan fixed everything I couldn't handle, made it look effortless, made me look completely incompetent. Dave walked past, clapped Ryan on the shoulder. Good to have you back, man. I felt white-hot anger. Not at myself, at Ryan. He swooped in deliberately to make me look bad. This was sabotage. That afternoon, I went to Tom's office. Tom, I need to report a hostile work environment issue with Dave. He looked concerned. What happened? I explained. Dave was immediately aggressive about a safety walkthrough. When I tried to problem solve, he was dismissive and condescending. He called me sweetheart in a demeaning way. He undermined my authority in front of other contractors, compared me to Ryan in a clearly gendered way. He said I was acting like an idiot. Tom took notes. That's serious, Emily. Walk me through the sequence. I gave my version. I arrived, and Dave was irrationally angry about a meeting that wasn't clearly communicated. When I tried to find solutions, he refused to cooperate and used sexist language. He deliberately made me look incompetent. I had to call Ryan because Dave wouldn't work with a woman. Tom listened. All right, I'm going to look into this thoroughly. In the meantime, I'm bringing in Karen Delgado to help you finish out the week. She's one of our senior PMS with experience handling contractor conflicts. My stomach dropped. I don't need someone to take over. This isn't about taking over, it's about support. If Dave is creating a hostile environment, Karen will address it. I realized I was being sidelined. Again. Tom continued, I also got a call from Mr. Patterson. He's concerned about project management. He asked for Ryan to be more involved. Because Ryan undermined me. Emily, from what I'm hearing, Ryan solved multiple critical issues that were putting the project at risk. Why did you miss the 6 a.m. walkthrough? I didn't know it was mandatory. Ryan didn't properly brief me. The walkthrough was on the schedule, flagged as critical. Dave sent 2 email reminders. I felt cornered. I had a lot to manage. Things fell through the cracks. Tom nodded slowly. We'll talk more after Karen's assessment. Friday morning, 5:45. Karen arrived before anyone. I got there at 6:20. She was already in the trailer with Ryan, reviewing files. Karen was late 40s, athletic, all business. Proper work boots, jeans, company polo, not warm, not cold. Just intensely competent. Morning, Emily. Let's walk the site. We did a full walkthrough. She asked detailed questions about scheduling, budget, contractors, milestones, permits. I gave vague answers. She just took notes. After, she sat me down. Let's talk about what happened yesterday. I started explaining about Dave, but she interrupted. I read your report. I also pulled Dave's logs, reviewed emails, and talked to Dave, Miguel, and Ryan. Let me show you something. She opened her laptop, pulled up Dave's daily logs. Monday. Flagged Thursday 6 a.m. safety walkthrough for Panel 2B with Emily. Critical. Requires PM sign-off before wire pull. Inspector needs documentation by Thursday 2 p.m. for Friday inspection. Emailed Emily. Flagged high priority. Wednesday. Follow-up reminder to Emily about Thursday walkthrough. No response. Concerned about Friday inspection timing. Thursday. Arrived 5:45 a.m. for walkthrough. PM no-show by 6:30. Crew standing idle. Called Ryan at 7 a.m. Project at risk. All highlighted, marked urgent, with email confirmations attached. Karen. You missed a mandatory safety meeting that was clearly communicated multiple times. Dave's crew lost an hour and 15 minutes of billable time, roughly $800, waiting for you. When he tried to explain the code compliance implications, you told him you studied OSHA regulations extensively and suggested he proceed without proper documentation. That's not just unprofessional, it's dangerous. My face burned. But his tone was frustrated because you made a critical mistake that cost him time and money. This is construction. People are direct. If you fuck up, they tell you. That's not gendered. That's the culture. He called me sweetheart. She played a voicemail on speaker. Dave's voice. Hey Karen, it's Dave Simmons. I heard the intern filed a complaint. I probably came off rough yesterday. I was stressed about the code issue and my crew burning money. But I've been doing this 32 years. I treat everyone the same. If someone screws up, I tell them. I've called male PMs way worse than sweetheart, if I even said that. Don't remember using it, but if I did, it wasn't a gender thing. Just wanted you to hear my side. Karen looked at me. I've worked with Dave for 12 years across 15 projects. He's gruff with everyone. If he was actually sexist, I would have dealt with it years ago. What happened here is you made serious mistakes. He called you out, and you filed a discrimination complaint to deflect accountability. Tears pricked my eyes. I forced them back. That's not... Yes, it was, let me be clear. I came up in this industry in the late 90s when it was sexist. I've had contractors refuse to shake my hand, been asked to take notes because they thought I was a secretary, had clients ask for a real PM, been told I was too emotional when I pushed back on safety violations, had my ass grabbed at industry events. That's actual sexism. She leaned forward. What you experienced was a contractor rightfully pissed that you didn't do your job. You're weaponizing discrimination as a shield against accountability. You're making it harder for the next woman who faces actual bias. I couldn't speak. Now let me show you something else. She pulled up Ryan's notes from the week before I took over, previous Monday. 2-hour meeting with city inspector to renegotiate permit timeline. Called Patterson 3 times to manage anxiety, got him to agree to revised schedule in writing. Previous Tuesday. Miguel raised concerns about HVAC ducting conflicting with plumbing. Set up 3-way call, mediated solution, got engineer sign-off. Took Miguel to lunch to smooth over previous frustration, paid out of pocket. Previous Wednesday. Dave submitted electrical panel plans, spent 3 hours reviewing, identified 2 code violations that would have failed inspection, coordinated corrections, avoided week-long delay, scheduled Thursday safety walkthrough for next week, sent Emily calendar invite. Previous Thursday. Supplier called, materials back-ordered, would delay delivery by a week, called in favor with alternate supplier, expedited delivery, absorbed higher cost. Worked until 10 p.m. updating schedules. Previous Friday, 90-minute call with Patterson addressing budget concerns, timeline anxiety, tenant build-out questions. Prepped detailed notes for Emily's Monday check-in, including exact talking points. Updated all documentation for clean handoff. Karen. You didn't manage Monday through Wednesday. Ryan did. He front-loaded an entire week of problem solving. He cleared every mine from the field. All you had to do was follow the map. And the first time you hit an actual obstacle, a missed meeting, a contractor pushing back, an unexpected conflict, you completely fell apart. I wasn't properly prepared. You were given the same briefing every new PM gets. The difference is, most people have the humility to know what they don't know. You walked in, convinced your degree and GPA made you qualified. Your education makes you trainable. Experience makes you qualified. And you weren't ready. Her voice softened slightly. You're clearly intelligent. You have drive. But you need to change your approach. Not every challenge is discrimination. Not every criticism is sexism. Sometimes you're just wrong. And in this job, being wrong costs money, delays projects, and can put people's safety at risk. I nodded, mute. Ryan is taking the project back. You're going to shadow him. Actually watch how he works. Maybe you'll learn something. I unshadowed Ryan the next week. Watched him work 70-hour weeks, handle 5 simultaneous crises, skip meals, take emergency calls at 10 p.m. Saw the reality of the job. It was undeniable. But I couldn't accept it. Dr. Morrison's words kept echoing in my head. About how if my week went smoothly, it was because someone else did the hard work. He'd been right, but admitting that felt impossible. Week 3, I resigned. Started job hunting. Every interview went the same. They'd call Hartman for a reference, then I'd never hear back. Desperate, I posted anonymously online about my experience, how I was systematically set up to fail, how the industry protects the boys' club, how even my own professor sided with them instead of believing me. It got some traction initially, but then someone who knew the situation commented, I work in construction in that region. I'm 99% sure I know which company this is. They're actually one of the better firms for women. OP might be leaving out context. More skeptical replies followed. Tom found the post, called me in. You shared confidential project details and made defamatory claims. This violates your NDA. Delete the post and apologize to Ryan, Dave, and Karen, or we terminate you for cause. I chose termination. 3 months later, I was working property management, glorified admin, $15,000 less than PM positions. Ryan got promoted to senior PM. The Riverside project won an award for on-time, under-budget completion. I saw his LinkedIn post. Everyone congratulating him. I closed the app, told myself I dodged a bullet. The industry was toxic anyway. I never deleted the post, never apologized, never learned.